One.
Hello, folks, and welcome back to 360 Sports. Today, we're talking about the show of shows, the greatest show inside of the squared circle. It's WrestleMania. I'm joined alongside great cast here, Wyatt Beach, Pat Gray, Isabella Sposato, and we're going to start off with my GOAT, the greatest of all time, John Cena, finally breaking the record for world championships, his 17th, defeating Cody Rhodes in the main event of WrestleMania in a thriller. Absolute, it's a polarizing match. People have their opinions, but we'll see what we have. Wyatt, what'd you think?
Well, I thought it was a surprisingly mid-match for how well. I actually really loved the build-up to this match, but it felt really slow and sloggy at times, and it was kind of a weird payoff with the Travis Scott thing. There was so much build-up. There was a lot of anticipation. It felt like, a match of the year candidate going in, and it just didn't end up being that. But Cena winning, despite him being a heel, absolutely well-deserved. I'm excited to see where Cody goes from here. I think you can get really creative with it.
Yeah, I didn't love the match, to be quite frank with you. I thought parts of it were great. It dragged on for a while. It was a little slow. The 4 AAs that Cody kicked out of, I don't love seeing that. I don't mind The Rock not running out. I don't mind a lot of the things. Travis Scott, I didn't understand. I thought after what we saw last year in Philadelphia at 40, with the amount of runouts that they had at that match, and then to just have Travis Scott, which fell flat and you could feel it in the arena, it just served no purpose.
It took forever to get into the ring, too.
And I get the whole thing with Cody and how he actually punched Cody by accident, and that's like kind of getting the lick back. But it just wasn't what we needed to see during that match. But I'll give my applause to John Cena for winning the 17th. I'm not putting him in my top 3 quite yet. I don't think he'll ever get there for me, but I understand it.
I mean, I knew it was bound to happen someday. Like, he wasn't retiring anytime soon at the time, and then now he's retired, so everyone pretty much assumed, he's going to win it, and then he's going to retire with it. I actually thought, me and my dad were actually discussing this, in the end, he's a heel, so it doesn't make sense now, but at the time, he was going to take off like his shoes, put his hat down, put the belt down, just walk off. That would have been a good theory to have. But like all of you guys said, like, he absolutely deserves it. I found myself rooting for the bad guy for like the first time. And yeah, he's done so much for this industry. He's a good wrestler. He's a good guy on the mic. I really wish he wasn't a heel, though. I just feel like it wasn't right for him to win as a heel. I mean, everyone has their opinions, of course, but it would have been so nice to have like this good guy versus good guy beef build up. I mean, I enjoyed seeing it, bad guy, good guy, but I feel like it would have been better, good guy versus good guy, and then they hash it out in the ring. John Cena wins. They both hug and respect each other. But yeah, the Travis Scott thing didn't make sense to me. It kind of died down real quick for me.
Yeah.
I think the problem lied with the fact that, we had this whole build-up for Cody, like, being more aggressive with the Kevin Owens feud, and it kind of seemed as if it was going to be Cody was the one going in as the heel into the main event. And then, at Elimination Chamber, you have the opportunity for The Rock and Cody to confront, and Cody goes out there and, says what he said to The Rock, and then you have Cena turning heel, and nobody expected it, but it feels like WWE didn't even expect it either. Like, this was like a decision that reportedly this was just to drum up tickets. The Rock only apparently came to Elimination Chamber because ticket sales were low. But then they decided, okay, let's do something unique and have Cena turn heel. And then it really didn't plan out that well. I mean, Cena was the ultimate babyface for 14 years in this company. He was the hardworking guy, the guy that showed up day in, day out, and just worked. He did all this stuff. He was the champion for a lot of that time over some really rough periods. Had some really good, solid years as champion, some bad years as champion, some great matches, some bad matches. It feels weird for the guy like that to be your top heel going into WrestleMania and his last ever WrestleMania. Like, you want this guy that's been your kind of biggest babyface of all time to be the biggest babyface in his last match and like he might lose, and this might be his last WrestleMania. He's never going to win the belt at WrestleMania, but instead he does it the heel way, and it just feels a little weird.
A little contentious here. I kind of like that he was a heel. He's been babyface for 18 years at this point. I like him going out as a heel, doing something he hasn't done in a while, kind of reinventing himself at the end of his career and kind of forming a story that way. I think the booking was bad from Triple H's part. I don't like how they formed that story. As you just said, the only reason they brought in The Rock at the Elimination Chamber was to boost ticket sales. That's something that Triple H hasn't been doing. He hasn't needed to do, and now it all just seemed a little forced to me.
Yeah. The build up, like you said, like I love that they were going for like a more aggressive Cody Rhodes. He was going to lock in for the Cena thing. One of my favorite promos on the road to WrestleMania was the one he did with CM Punk before in the Royal Rumble, where it really felt like he flipped that switch. And then after Elimination Chamber, that similar vibe was there. But then, as we got closer to WrestleMania, it feels like we just kind of lost the plot a little bit. But, I do agree with what you said about, I'm glad that they tried to take a big swing with Cena being heel, even though we're kind of in a confusing point at that right now. I think they will turn him face maybe after he loses the title, maybe set up a match with The Rock or something.
But can I say, I'm so thankful that we're not going to get year-long title runs at this point.
Yes.
It seems like that's
It looks
over.
like we're done.
I'm so sick of it.
Yeah.
I was sick of the Roman one after like about what
1,400
Yeah.
days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said it was like a swing and a miss or a whatever you said.
I don't think it's a miss yet. They're gonna try.
I think it's more of a foul tip. If we're talking
Yes.
baseball terms here, like there is potential. This kind of thing can continue with Cena being a heel, but it is at a weird point right now where you don't feel that great about it. Like the way that match ended, the way that it was kind of portrayed, he walked out like tears in his eyes, smiling. Like that's not very heelish.
I hated that he cheated. Oh my god! I
Yeah.
wish it was fair, at least.
That's
I
a
think
heel.
that was kind of perfect for at least giving him something to go off of as a heel.
heel.
Here's my whole thing with Cena as a heel. I think the lead up for him as a heel, everybody, it was kind of over. We were over on John Cena being heel. We were okay with it. We liked the heel turn and everything like that. And then you get to the match, and it as we said earlier, it fell flat. It had decent moments, but overall it wasn't a great match. Nobody's going to really remember it in the halls of WrestleMania main events.
I just don't think he's a good heel, honestly. I think he is supposed to be the good guy that stays the good guy for his entire wrestling career, but obviously not entirely, but most of it. And I hope he turns into a good guy when it comes time to
He
retire.
will. I think for sure he'll turn face
but-
by the end of the year.
But for now, I wish.
All right, well, we'll move on to the other world championship that changed hands at WrestleMania. This one, for all the Yeet fanatics out there, Jey Uso defeating Gunther in the opening match of night one. This is another one that a lot of people have different opinions about. Let's go around the table and just say what you thought, and what did you think about Gunther's overall reign? I mean, I feel like it was a pretty impressive reign for him.
Very impressive reign. The highlight for me of this reign is, I feel like I was kind of alone at this. I did actually really like that Orton match at Bash in Berlin. I didn't like that he made Orton tap out, but that tap out did look convincing, and it really defeating someone like Randy Orton going for that. Was it 16 he was going for world titles?
16
Yeah,
or
16 or 15.
He's at
Yeah,
16.
something like
He's at
that.
15 right now.
Really?
Yeah, I think that really cemented for me as Gunther being okay. This guy's legit. He's the guy. He's the world heavyweight champion. That was a highlight for me. I thought it was a great reign. The match itself was better than I thought it was going to be. We saw a lot of people kind of going back on Jey Uso as we got closer to Mania. I didn't like the finish, but the match was decent enough to where, and obviously in arena with people in the arena, Jay's so over right now. So I think it makes sense from a booking and with a fan standpoint.
To me, I liked Gunther's reign. I thought it was refreshing. He has surprisingly good promo work, and I like classic style wrestling. I like shoot wrestling. That entertains me. I think that's a lot of fun, especially for what we see now, which is a lot of high flyers, which can get boring when you see it so often. The match to me, I thought it was a great match. I really enjoyed the match. The one thing I didn't like is how he got him on submission. I think that was
Yes,
a bad
that's what I'm
way to
talking
end
about.
Gunther's reign. I thought that was lazy writing.
It didn't
That's
look
insane.
convincing either.
No, it looked no parts convincing. I haven't seen Jay pull out a submission, and I can't tell you
No,
how
he
long
does-
he's
that's not
done
his
that.
thing.
And that's the way they decided to end it. I thought that was a little lazy, if I'm going to say anything.
I mean, I don't know if it's just me, but I think Gunther is kind of mid to me. He's not a wrestler that sticks out to me at the moment, but maybe in the near future he will. I did love to see his reign end. He is a good competitor, but it felt forced to me every time he won. It's okay, here we go again. He won, whatever. He's this big, strong guy. He's got a lot of strength, and it looks real. I give him that, but I just haven't seen him as a big deal like previous wrestlers that held the Intercontinental Champion, the United States, like that. Yeah, he's someone I look past too, but I will say I'm excited for this kind of like boost for Jey Uso. It's kind of gonna seem like he's gonna be a main event in WrestleMania someday. And he's already got the fans with him. He's got Michael Cole and Pat McAfee doing his yeet dance
not Pat
with
anymore
him.
After yesterday.
Yeah.
Pat might be dead.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, he made his show.
He did,
The
he
next
did.
day.
He did his show.
Yeah.
But his singles career is really building up, and I really love that for him. Is he going to get back with Jimmy someday? Probably. But I think everyone obviously knew he wasn't going to be a main event this year. It's kind of weird to see him be Jey Uso versus Cody Rhodes. That's not going to bring money. But this fight, I really thought was fair for him.
Yeah, I enjoyed Gunther's run. I mean, I like the old, like you said, old style wrestler, like a guy that like preaches about respecting the ring, the unwritten rules of wrestling, and he like showed respect. Like the match against Orton, I remember at the end, both those guys shook hands. That's not something that like a heel and a face usually do.
I like
but,
that one. I will give it that. I like
But
that
like
one.
that stuff is what I enjoy. Like he's not as much of a heel. It's more so of a guy that is just like a straight up wrestler. He's in there to do
He
a job.
takes what he does seriously, and you believe
Now-
it.
Takes
it
even
very
if-
seriously.
Now in the Jey Uso feud, he was 100% the heel. He almost
Yeah.
killed Jimmy.
Yeah.
But
He
again,
almost killed Michael and Pat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
But again, like that was really convincing for the feud. I mean, like seeing Jay watching his brother bleeding right in front of him in a chokehold, that's convincing. That is a
Yeah.
good thing that you like in a heel. And Gunther sold this well. I mean, I know we had the whole online discourse about Jay. I enjoyed the match. I thought it was solid for an opener. The fans were entertained. They got them on their feet with the yeet chants and obviously the victory for Jay. So I feel that it was good. Anybody else have anything final to add before we move on to our final match?
I got one thing to say about Jay. I like what they do with the Usos. I like the storytelling that they tell with them. The characters themselves, I am not a fan of.
Yeah.
It just... Jay doesn't play a very compelling character, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just me. It just doesn't connect for me.
He's very funny to me at times.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of like the thing he does with like Waffle House. Like it's like kind of like related. It's relatable to the fans, but I don't think I think because of that, that's one of the drawbacks to him. I don't think this title reign is going to last through SummerSlam.
No, not at all.
Or through even Money in the Bank. I think he'll probably drop it here soon.
I do love to see him wrestle. I think he has some good tricks up his sleeve. I know the same ending, whatever, but I personally like it. But he's not really a mic guy yet, and I really would love to see his mic skills really improve.
Yeah.
I have my pick for who's going to beat him to take the title away from him. But moving on, we'll get to that a little bit later. But moving on, we'll talk about our final night. And this was the main event of night one, probably one of the most shocking moments of WrestleMania. Paul Heyman betraying his best friend and his tribal chief to align himself with Seth Rollins. And this is huge. This is setting up an entire new faction within WWE. And Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins, two guys that are very convincing together.
I think the Sethority with Braun Breaker gets near a title here very, very soon. Probably after Backlash. I think Backlashes will probably be, my prediction would be him and Braun versus Punk and Roman, and I think him and Braun will probably win that, and they'll get near a title at some point. I really want to see how, because I'm pretty sure he's a heel now. He's still over with the fans right now.
He's a heel.
Yeah, but he's
100%.
100%
He's
a heel with
this
Heyman.
just like declared right now,
Yeah,
like
so-
as of Monday, he's a
and
heel.
it's been, like Seth Rollins. We've known Seth Rollins as a heel before, so I'm interested to see how this kind of new momentum takes him with like this, how his character has evolved since the last time he was a heel.
If this match didn't occur, I would have terrible opinions
Yes.
about
Yeah.
this WrestleMania. In total, didn't love it. This match, 10 out of 10.
Yep.
I thought every part of it, including the wrestling, from both Seth, CM, and Roman, I think were all great. I think Roman's spot wrestling were some of the best that I've seen in a long while. You saw the one not attitude adjustment. I forget what move that Seth pulled out him. Doesn't matter. But
Yeah.
Roman looked like he was really ready for it. Came off the ropes
Pedigree?
very well. It was the pedigree that he hit on him. I don't know why that didn't click for me right there.
I think,
But it looked really good, and everything was really sharp in that match. CM Punk, I haven't seen him wrestle this well in, I can't tell you how long, since probably the beginning of his AEW days. I haven't seen him wrestle as well as he did the other night. So I thought that was really impressive. And then the Paul Heyman storyline was, I think that's what we all wanted. I don't think any of us expected that to fully happen. I heard a couple people online say they predicted it. I would have never predicted something like that to happen. I thought he would have gone on Punk's side before he went back on Roman's side, or on Seth's side fully.
Well, it looked
But
like that for a second.
I'm very happy to see that this is what it's going to be. I'm very excited for whatever you call the faction, the Sethority.
the Sethority.
Honestly, I was dying to talk about this fight because this was my favorite fight of probably both WrestleMania nights. It really just took me back to those like old wrestling days, the real main events you had back then, like Steve Austin versus I forget who, Hulk Hogan versus The Rock. I mean, we weren't born during that time, but looking at those old shows was amazing.
Like the non-title main events.
Yeah, like that really just took me back. I just think the transition to Paul and Seth being like the true heels now was just perfect. I haven't said that in years, honestly, about a match like this. I just think this match was all around perfect. Everyone brought their A game. There were so many surprises happening. Oh my God, I'm just obsessed with this. There was just perfect rivalry between all of them. It was Roman against CM Punk because Paul Heyman went to him, and then Seth Rollins and Roman with the Shield and how he betrayed Roman when he went to the Authority. I'm just all around. It just all made sense in the end. I don't know if a lot of people would say that, but to me, it just made so much sense.
Paul Heyman is the perfect heel manager character. I will die on this hill that he's the best heel manager of all time.
Yes.
He was good as a babyface, already as a babyface.
He's been a heel a lot.
I think he's the
so-
best.
I really
heel
like
He was
manager.
only
there.
kind of recently a babyface.
But was he a heel manager?
Yeah, Undertaker was a heel, and then Kane was a heel.
Brock Lesnar too.
Paul Bearer was great,
Yeah,
but
Brock Lesnar
I think
was
Paul
a heel.
Heyman is right up there with Paul
Yeah.
Bearer.
He has to
I
be
mean,
100%.
like,
absolutely.
That's why he's in the
way-
Hall of Fame.
Yeah, the way that he speaks for his promos, and CM Punk didn't
So
need a
good.
mouthpiece, but he became CM Punk's mouthpiece, which is hilarious.
Yeah, which is
two
so
guys
weird.
that can
And it worked,
talk
too.
a building over, and
Yeah.
it did. It worked, and they were great, and it helped this story massively. The experience that he had with CM Punk. I mean, you look at the picture. Look at Paul Heyman's face. I mean, that is just a
Yes.
face of
That's
just.
just-
He's a great actor.
This
He's a
is
great
good
actor.
acting,
Phenomenal.
right?
Yeah.
That's why I think he's probably the most like
He's
convincing
Oscar-worthy for
non-wrestler on the mic in
Yeah.
WWE history.
I want to ask you a quick question. This compared to night 2 of last year, which one are you taking?
Oh man.
I would take night 2 of last.
See,
I'm
being
taking
there,
night 2 of last
being
year.
there in
Night 2
person,
was
I have to say
so
night
good.
2.
I'm taking night 2.
You were
Because
there?
I was there in person. It was
Everyone
just
came
like
out after.
because
That was
again,
Endgame. That was
everybody
like
in the
everybody
building-
was
listen,
there.
After seeing it, everybody in the building was thinking Stone Cold, and you get Undertaker, just phenomenal.
It was great. I think I said this on the show last year. I physically left 4 feet out of my chair when I saw the lights go dark. I couldn't believe it.
All right, well, moving on, let's talk about next year's WrestleMania. I know it's a little bit early, but we all gave our
Never
picks
too
for
early.
who we think is going to be in the main event of WrestleMania next year. Wyatt, give us a good lead off here.
Yeah, for sure. So my picks for the main event of next year is night 1. I got Roman Reigns versus The Rock. Some kind of bloodline story in there. Not too hyped about this match. Obviously Roman Reigns is still a great wrestler at this point in his career, but the reason why I picked this is WWE has been wanting this match to happen for so long. They dream about it. So I think next year is when they finally pull the trigger, just to get it out of the way. I still think it'll be a good match. But night 2, I have CM Punk versus a heel Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship. I think the title comes off Cena by Punk, and then heel Cody Rhodes he turns heel after kind of a slow burn with I can't believe the fans cheered Cena after, he's supposed to be the bad guy and I'm supposed to be a good guy. So I think it'll be a face champion Punk versus a heel Cody Rhodes for night 2, and I think that would be a great match.
Who would you say is going to win that one? Because Punk's still waiting for that WrestleMania moment that he hasn't had winning that title in a main event.
I think that's tough. I think Punk wins that because, like you said, he did main event, Saturday, but he didn't win. He wrestled his butt off,
Yeah.
and he had a great performance. But I think a main event win would really be a good. I think the fans would love that. I think that would be perfect.
I think that's just what he needs for his career at this
Yes,
point, is
yeah.
a WrestleMania main event win with a championship on the line.
Yeah.
I could agree with that. All right, Isabella, what have you got for us with the second?
Well, don't necessarily have a match because I have no clue, but I have Roman Reigns just being there in the main event. I did read, unfortunately, that he might be retiring in the next year, 2 or 3, which is really upsetting because he's definitely one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, and he has to somehow be in that main event and win the title one last time, no matter what year it is. But honestly, he's a good wrestler. I'm not really sure about the mic skills anymore, but at the time I thought it was good. But I just love seeing him wrestle overall. His moves are electrifying, so that would be still good for a main event in WrestleMania. Again, no idea who, but I didn't mention this before, but I just thought of it now. I would love to see Drew McIntyre back in the main event also, whether it's night 1 or 2. I feel like they just keep screwing him over. He did have a good fight with Damian, but I wish he can get back in that title reign, whether it's facing CM Punk, bring that rivalry back, or Cody Rhodes for some reason. Anyone who's really in that main event reign right now. Just Drew McIntyre versus anyone, honestly.
Yeah, I could see him back there, but again, with the paid time off he's taken, essentially, I don't know if he'll make it back in the main event.
What would that be? 8 straight that he's written?
Yeah. Wow.
Well, that's the reason I
I
picked
don't
him
hate it.
against The Rock just to get it out of the way, and then after next year, it'll be like kind of that. He's already on the on-off schedule right now. I think it'll just
I
be
don't
after
think you
that.
can have that match not at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
That's kind of why I also picked the exact same thing. I guess I'm not creative anymore, but that's fine, because The Rock, Roman Reigns is the match we all want to see. Am I wrong? That's the match we all want to see. I would like it to be heel versus heel. I think these two are best when they are heels. I don't want to see Roman as face. Nobody wants to see Roman as face anymore. He's more fun as a heel. But we need to see this match happen eventually. We need to know to see who's the king of the bloodline, and we haven't seen it yet, but I guarantee that we will. And then for my next match, I want to get the rivalry that's been going on for over 10 years now, that hate each other, that don't like working with each other. As people, they don't like each other. And that's Seth Rollins and CM Punk. Seth Rollins has been the biggest workhorse for the WWE for the past 7 years. He does everything that they ask him to through injuries. He'll do both nights at WrestleMania. He'll help out anyone that needs it. He'll wrestle anyone that needs it. And CM Punk is still looking for that moment. Now, honestly, I kind of want to give this belt to CM Punk because I think he deserves it. I think that's what will help his career. But Seth does everything that WWE asks for him, and he hasn't won the belt at WrestleMania or really won a big WrestleMania event like this in years, where he gets a belt, where it really says something about Seth's career. I mean, this was a big win last weekend, but it's not a belt like we're accustomed to. I want to see a heist kind of situation, something like that feeds us that Seth Rollins is still that master architect, and that's why I picked those.
Yeah, this would cook too.
Yeah,
this would cook
But the
too.
question is,
reason
would
why-
they still have this rivalry going by the time it's
That's why I
Yes.
picked Cody.
think
Because it's not artificial, it's real.
It is real,
Like,
you're
they
right,
hate
yeah.
each other.
They do.
But are they
Like-
going to make up someday, though?
No, they will not.
Not even like the end of this year?
I mean, character-wise, maybe sometime down the line, but I do think this would be an incredible mini match. The only reason I picked
do
Rhodes
too.
was because they have wrestled a lot previously with the Netflix kickoff in January and with this. So I think you would need to kind of take a break from this and then bring it back towards the end of this year.
No, and I absolutely understand that. And yes, they hate each other. There's like leaked video footage of them like
yeah.
screaming, arguing.
Absolutely,
Now,
behind the
obviously, they've
scenes.
made up enough to at least work
To
together.
work together, yeah.
Which is nice to see because in the start they weren't. Like Seth was adamant that he's not working with CM, but
We
it's
hated how he left the company, so
he
that's
hated
pretty.
everything about Punk.
And now he just gets to come back.
He thought Punk was a kind of everything was about him.
He thought
guy.
Punk was a punk.
Yeah,
I was about to say. I was
Exactly.
literally about to say that.
All right, well, I have some of the similar names in there, but against some different faces. So starting off with my night 1 main event, I have Seth Rollins taking on Braun Breaker. Now, I think there's no better time to jumpstart Braun Breaker into the main event scene than in WrestleMania. And obviously, two guys that are currently allied right now, but I see Braun Breaker eventually either breaking off from Seth Rollins or Paul Heyman turning on Seth Rollins and just solo managing Braun Breaker. He is that dynamic. He is Roman Reigns, but even more athletic, even more dynamic. I think he's great, and with the perfect mouthpiece, a guy like Paul Heyman, even though I love some Steiner math, this would be a perfect night 1 main event. Now, going on to night 2, I also have Cody Rhodes appearing in yet another main event, but against Randall Keith Orton. Now, in this scenario, I do think Cody Rhodes will be the heel with the WWE Championship, defending against face Randy Orton. Now, this story's kind of been talked about. Randy did mention that at one point he'd be coming after Cody for the WWE Championship, but Cody loses the title. I think Cody is the person to win it back from John Cena, but then in the process becomes a heel and has to defend down the line against Randy at WrestleMania.
I didn't even think
I like
about
this.
Paul Heyman turning on Seth and becoming
Yeah.
a Braun guy,
He
and now
100%
I
will.
love that idea.
They say all men are
that's
created
predictable
equal, but
now,
you look at
see?
Braun
I know that's
Breaker and you look
predictable.
at
I
Seth
didn't even
Rollins,
think about it.
Clearly that statement is not
Isn't
true.
me though, but the transition from Braun Breaker losing his title to now partnering up with Seth, was that bad or is it just me? Like, I thought it was weird.
We need time
I
to
don't
see
think
it.
it's
It's only
I
it's
think
only
a
just
faction
started.
is the only thing Braun needed.
Yeah.
I think that's
But
the
he
only
just
thing that'll
appeared
help
out of
put him
nowhere.
over.
It's like, hey, I'm allied with you now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was
And
weird.
It would be a perfect like face betrayal down the road too.
Yeah.
I think that would be a great night.
I
one
would
event.
love that,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah, well, I mean, talking about that, let's move on now to our next segment. I'm going to challenge all three of you here at the table. We're going to get two different wrestlers, and you're going to have to decide who has the better record at WrestleMania. Now, I threw these three on here, for example, three known legends at WrestleMania, but you don't know who you're going to get. You could get anybody in these next three slides, so let's start off with our first two.
Oh, no.
Hitman versus The Rock.
I feel like
I want to say The Rock
I want to say The Rock, too.
because he's been at more Manias, right? Rock.
Probably.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of which one he's.
They're both
I don't know. He
Mania-worthy
only wrestled
always.
in the WWE from
Now, the way
98 to
I
2003,
took this
right?
into account, I will say this, is
Longer.
if they have more matches, it's the percentage. It goes off based off of percentage.
Right. Okay.
Well,
Bret
both of them
Hart
were
was
in the WWE
strictly the
forever,
90s
like,
because of
Yeah.
the screw job.
They both
that
had very,
happened.
very short, like consistent careers, and then obviously The Rock would come back every once in a while.
Yeah.
But he went 1-on-1 with Cena, right?
Right.
That was
Then he
pretty recent.
beat Hogan, I believe.
He did beat Hogan.
did.
He beat
Yeah.
Hogan
Don't forget
was
last year.
People
2002,
people
I
say
think.
that was a
last year, I guess. Yeah, he did
1-0.
win. And I'm trying to think, who did Hitman beat?
yeah. I
He
don't
wrestled
even
Taker
know.
at one of them.
Yeah. He did
I'll
wrestle
give you one.
Taker.
I'll give you one, Stone Cold.
He did wrestle.
That-
He did,
yes,
yeah,
the
that was,
immortal moment.
That was the name I was thinking
Yes.
of earlier.
I feel like
I
the
think it's
better
Hitman.
record though.
I feel like
I'm
they
going to say The
probably-
Rock.
They really tried to put Hitman over there for a
They
while.
did.
So I think Brett.
Brett,
but I could
Brett
see
didn't
it.
last because
I'm wetting
he,
my hands with this one. You guys choose because
Yeah.
I
he
have
left
no
in,
idea.
what,
Well, I
96
think like less
was
message,
it?
and like you said, they were trying to put him like over more. And Rock has done a lot of more matches as like kind of an in between bad
Yeah.
guy to good guy type thing.
But I think Brett left early because he was basically like late 80s, I think,
Yeah.
and 90s, and then he got screwed over, and then that was it.
Yeah.
That was like the last time we saw
I think
him.
for WrestleMania though, I
It's
think
Rock.
yeah, I would say the Rock.
I'm going to say The
Okay.
Rock.
I'm in
Yeah,
between
Rock.
them. though.
I'm going with The Rock.
All right,
fine
let's
with The
take a
Rock.
look.
I
Incorrect.
went back at the last
No!
minute. I went back at the last
Same
minute.
amount of wins, but Brett had a better
Oh, my
percentage.
dad was
Right.
so disappointed
Nah,
in me.
That's true.
All right, now on to
I just had
the
a
next
feeling.
two.
Oh, I don't know.
CM Punk.
Oh man. Well, Sammy had a main event with KO, and he
I
won
feel
that.
like Sammy's
Yeah.
rarely had main events.
Yeah.
Is this just totals?
Totals
Oh,
just
this is
matches,
overall?
not main
How
event
many
losses.
matches has Sammy wrestled at WrestleMania?
I
You'd be
can only
surprised.
remember the
I feel like more.
KO.
the KO tag titles won at 39.
No, I
CM
swear he had one at 38.
CM Punk.
missed-
well,
This
CM
is the
Punk.
one I have no
Has
idea.
he had that many?
Sami Zayn?
How many?
I haven't thought about
He's
it.
had more than a couple.
I was gonna say, he had
CM
a
Punk
lot.
lost a lot
Yes.
at Manias.
He lost
So
to
I think-
Taker. He lost to yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm going.
CM Punk was one of the victims of Undertaker.
Did he take when he
I
took the
can name
title
you-
off of Cena? That wasn't at WrestleMania.
No,
I can honestly
No.
name you all of CM Punk's wins, but in doing so, it would tell
Well, that was
Yeah.
one of the one. I think it was Punk versus Cena at one point in WrestleMania, but I don't know if it was for a title or not.
When he took it off of Cena, it wasn't. I forget what that was.
It was
at.
not WrestleMania.
I think that was a Money in the Bank.
Money in the Bank.
It must have been
2011.
something different than when they faced because I
I'm
know
going
for sure.
Sammy
they,
here. I don't know
Yeah,
why.
something
I might
about
go
this
with-
comparison
He was
makes
so
it feel
over
like
for a while.
Yeah,
I
Sammy.
feel like Sami Zayn
Yeah.
in recent years, at least, because he was with
Because
the
I just think
Usos
when I
and-
think Punk at WrestleMania, I think about like he just lost to. He was like thrown against
Never
the
had his
Wolves.
moment.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
never had his moment there.
Yeah,
I think he just lost a lot.
Let's
on
see if you're
Sammy.
right.
I feel like Sami
Now you
Zayn's always
make me
won
feel
though.
like, gosh,
Oh
darn
my
it,
God, we're so
man.
bad at this.
Who did he beat? At
He won 2 Money in the Bank ladder matches and beat
That's
Chris Jericho.
right. I forgot
you're
about the
so
Money in
right.
the Banks.
The Chris
I forgot
Jericho
they used to
match.
hold those at WrestleMania.
No.
Oh, I forgot about
Wow, I
those.
need to brush up.
Yeah.
You guys are struggling here. Last one, see
Yeah.
if you can get this one right. Maybe
Third
it's a little
time's
easier.
a charm. Oh my God! Wait.
Rob Van Dam. I love him.
Oh my God.
But
Rob
Lashley,
Van
though,
Dam is a big deal. Well, he
Yeah.
wasn't in WWE for too long because he went
like
to.
4
he had one title reign after ECW.
Yeah, he was in ECW, so I don't think that counts then.
He didn't win that
well, no.
at WrestleMania, though.
He did not win.
I don't remember.
WrestleMania.
I
was-
think
he was
Lashley only has like
92.
2 wins at
Rob
WrestleMania.
Van Dam was not at a lot of WrestleMania.
Bobby Lashley?
right?
But Lashley was in the WWE.
You know,
for a
actually, this
long
could be
time.
this. I feel like this is a good comparison because they were both on ECW at some point.
Yeah, that's true.
Around
I think
the same-
Lashley,
at the same
Lashley's
time,
been at
pretty
more
much.
I want to say Lashley.
I want to say Lashley too.
I don't know. This is bad.
Lashley definitely wrestled at more WrestleManias,
yeah,
but is the
I want to say
percentage higher?
I want. Well, this could be another Brett situation where
This
he
could
wrestled
be.
less and he just had a higher percentage.
I'm taking Lashley.
All right, well, we'll see if you guys are right. Let's take a look. Nope.
I almost said Rob too.
Van
I
Dam.
didn't
Single
say
one of
anything.
them
I was about
wrong.
to say Rob.
They're tough. I didn't make them
Those
easy.
are tough.
I knew you
I
guys
said
were,
Brett the first one, but then I wiped my
I
hands
knew you
clean
guys
with
were
it and
well
let them
educated,
take
so I
it.
made it tough. All right, moving on
Does
to
it
our
count when I
final
was?
segment here.
Does it count that I was thinking about it?
No.
Come on.
Moving on to our final segment here. We have about a couple minutes left, so each of you guys are going to get 30 seconds. Talk about your favorite moment from WrestleMania that wasn't one of the first 3 matches we mentioned in the headlines.
I can go first. I love that Io Sky won that championship.
Yep.
I love that that triple match. I thought that was the best match, possibly the whole weekend, even better than the main event of night 1. I thought that booking was genius, and that's why I liked it. I don't think anyone expected the Io Sky to win, so that's why I liked that
I
match.
kind of did, honestly.
I jumped up out of my seat 1 or 2 times during this Mania, but the one I jumped higher on was Joe Hendry coming out against Randy Orton. That was awesome. Loved it. You know, it wasn't so much about the match as it was about the segment, but it was such a cool moment to see the TNA World Champion at WrestleMania. Not defending the title, but it was still cool to see.
I mean, I don't really get the hype. I might have to look more into it, but obviously that Joe Hendry versus Randy Orton fight, my favorite part was when he turns around smiling, he gets
In the
RKO.
RKO,
But a fight, there's so many fights I really enjoyed. The street fight honestly stuck out to me. Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest. They're 2 big guys fighting each other to like the death, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was pretty reckless, pretty amazing.
Vince McMahon would be in love with that.
Yeah, you know, I guess my last one will have to be El Grande Americano taking down Rey Fenix. Pretty good of a match, you know. Chad Gable, he's not Chad Gable apparently. I don't know. It's El Grande Americano, but he can really
respect on his
imitate
name.
kind of any wrestling style. That's why I love him. He's an incredible wrestler, and he proved it against Rey Fenix. That was just short notice match, and glad they gave him the win. So gracias to WWE.
Yeah.
But that is unfortunately all we have time for here on the WrestleMania show on 360 Sports. Thank you all so much for tuning in. For Wyatt Beach, Pat Gray, Isabella Sposato, I'm Luke Stefanisko. Have a good day, folks.